Hey, what's up guys? Hope you're all doing well, and today is, a bit of a setup update because I have changed things a fair bit since I last shared my setup towards the start of the year. And the goal here was to create as clean of a setup as I possibly could without taking away from the usability and productivity of the setup itself. And personally, I feel the most comfortable and productive when I have the least amount of stuff and distractions around me, especially on my desk. And of course, one of the biggest changes here is upgrading to a dual monitor setup, which has completely changed the way I work, the way I game, and of course streaming is now something that I can actually do now. So let's talk about that first. So getting back into streaming, this was kind of a necessity because without a second monitor, it's impossible to interact with your chat and monitor your own stream. So that was the main reason, but as you would expect, running two monitors also has its benefits for video editing as well. I don't set my screen real estate up in any complex or interesting way. I literally just have Resolve Studio open on the main display and then usually File Explorer or Chrome open on the left, but even that has been really useful. This way, if I need some information or some files, for example, I can just quickly grab that from the left-hand side and then drag that over onto my timeline. Now, as for the monitor arms themselves, it's a dual monitor arm from a brand called MBeat. It's honestly nothing special and wasn't too expensive, but I will link it down below because it has worked quite well here. It has two gas spring arms, which honestly, they are a bit on the weaker end. I definitely wouldn't recommend these if you have a heavy ultra wide or really anything 32 inches or above. With my two 27-inch 4K panels, I did have to tighten them up a fair bit to prevent them from tilting down, but the adjustments themselves are pretty solid and definitely no complaints there. It's a huge step up from any adjustments that you can get from a monitor stand. And also an added bonus is the cable management, which is built in, so no cables are visible at all now. And I would probably go as far as saying that using monitor arms in my setup has probably been one of the biggest upgrades that I've done, apart from the gear and the upgrades themselves. Because using monitor arms, I just have so much more free space on my desk now. I don't have to worry about keyboard or mousepad positioning around the monitor stands, which has always been a problem for me personally. And just that floating appearance of the monitor arms themselves, tied in with the easy adjustments if you ever need to do adjustments, it has been a really nice upgrade. Now, another reason that I started using a monitor arm was because I still currently switch between two displays as my main. One is the 4K 27GN950 from LG whenever I'm working on videos or doing research, but for those sweaty first-person shooters, I always switch to the BenQ XL2546K. So to make the switching process a bit easier, I installed a VESA quick release mount and have the cables for both monitors pre-routed through the monitor arm. So now swapping the displays is super easy and can be done in well under a minute. Obviously, it's a pretty unique requirement. Most people just stick to the same display as their main, but if you're in the same boat as me, this is probably the best solution that you'll find. But what I really wanted to show you guys was how I completely hid the PC, which, as many of you know, I love my PC builds, especially my ITX builds, but here there is no build in sight at all. And in fact, looking at the desk from most angles and certainly sitting at the desk, the only thing that you can really see is the clean presentation of the two monitors and your peripherals. There are no other distractions and there's nothing else taking up the space on the desk. So no PC in sight, it's magically invisible now, which is super cool. Until you crouch down and take a look underneath the desk. That's where you'll find my trusty little NCase M1, which most of you are familiar with by now, with a liquid-cooled RTX 3090 and a Ryzen 5900X. I will link the specific desk mount that I used down below. It's nothing special. I found it on Amazon from a brand called Vivo, and it's pretty cheap as well at around $30. And I can totally recommend it, especially if you're running an ITX build like my own. Easy to install, decent quality. It is completely adjustable to the size of whatever case you're using as well, and as you can see, it uses straps to secure the PC and lock it in. Due to the design of my desk, I had to install the brackets here a little bit narrower, so my PC sits a little bit lower than it's meant to, but overall still really happy with this solution. And I know for a lot of people, their PC build is their pride and joy. It's the most interesting thing on their desk, and rightfully so, they want to display it. I think this is one of the main reasons why tempered glass mid-tower cases are still so popular right now, despite being absolutely massive, because they allow the user to see all of their hard-earned components. And for a while, I was like that too, right? I wanted to display my PC build because I was really proud of it, especially after my first couple of builds. All I wanted to do was stare at them. But once you get past that point, your PC becomes more about utility and function rather than just being an art form on your desk. At least for me right now, I'm more interested in the presentation and feel of my setup as a whole rather than just the PC itself. As much as I love that mini PC, PC, it is a bit in the way. And there is another benefit of mounting the PC under the desk, at least my one, which I discovered after doing this, and that was the lower noise levels, which this build was already very quiet at full load, but I can definitely notice the improvement since mounting it underneath. That's not only because the noise is being absorbed elsewhere as opposed to sitting right next to me, but also because the build now actually has slightly better airflow. Now both radiators have fresh air to pull from, and this means a slight improvement in thermal performance and fan speed. And I'll just quickly go over the stuff here that hasn't changed for those of you who might be new here. So the audio setup is completely unchanged. It's the Sennheiser HD58X for the headphones, Shure SM7B for the microphone, and they are both plugged into the Audient Evo 4 interface. A lot of you have been asking about whether I'm going to upgrade my keyboard soon as well, but nope, I'm still using the same custom 60% blank keyboard build. Really love this thing, and I will not be upgrading anytime soon. And then also still using the Logitech G Pro X Superlight for the mouse, although now with core pads for the glides underneath, and I did also upgrade the switches to KLG M2s, video on how to do that down below. Mousepad is a recent upgrade. It's the Artisan Zero Soft XL, which I actually bought from a subscriber because these things are very hard to find in stock. But yeah, I absolutely love this thing, nice and big, and exactly the amount of glide and control from a pad that I've been looking for. So yeah, really happy with the current state of the setup. I feel like it's both more productive and visually cleaner than it was at the start of the year, and perhaps maybe you could implement these changes into your own setup as well. I know a lot of people are probably going to see this setup and think it's, really bland and blank and lifeless, and that's completely okay. We all have different preferences and use cases when it comes to our workspaces and our gaming setups, and if you prefer a big desktop PC with RGB and a full-size keyboard, for example, that is completely fine. This video is just simply me sharing some ideas with you guys and some of the improvements and changes that I've made to my own setup and that I've really enjoyed. If you guys are interested in some of the stuff that I'm currently using, I will have that link down below in the description. As always, a huge thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.